Your 30s are when most people either set themselves up to get rich or fall into a cycle of living paycheck to paycheck. Whether you're buying a home, starting a family, or facing other big financial choices, making a mistake now could end up costing you hundreds of thousands of euros. I'm a financial coach, and there's one strategy to build real wealth I've seen work again and again for Europeans in their 30s, and it's following these 5 simple rules. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what these rules are and how to use them to build wealth and your dream life. Let's start with rule 1, because without it, it's almost impossible to get through your 30s without money stress. Your 30s are a turning point. You're making the biggest decisions of your life, getting married, starting a family, buying a home, maybe even adopting a dog. And suddenly, everything costs way more than it did in your 20s. But most people just hope they will be okay. They tell themselves, it's going to be okay, I'll figure it out. And then they keep going, hoping things will somehow work out. That's a huge gamble. And it's one you literally can't afford. You need a plan. And that's why rule number 1 is to consolidate your career. So what does that actually mean? It means making sure your job aligns with the kind of life you want to live and the kind of money you need to get there. Ask yourself, does this job fulfill me? Does it give me the lifestyle I want? Am I earning enough to achieve my dreams and goals? Your answers will tell you exactly what to do next. Maybe you love your job, but the salary means you will never afford a home. Maybe you're earning well and loving the work, so it's time to double down and grow faster. Or maybe, like me, you're earning well, but something feels off. I had a great salary. On paper, everything was perfect. I was comfortable, and that comfort felt safe. But deep down, I hated how I was spending my time. Every Sunday evening, I found myself sitting on my couch, staring into the void and wondering, is this all there is to life? Why are Mondays so hard? So eventually, I did the scary thing. I quit. Now I help Europeans take control of their money, and it's more fulfilling than anything I've done before in my comfortable corporate job. The truth is, your 30s are the best time to make that kind of change. You've got the experience to know what matters and the flexibility to pivot before having big responsibilities like kids or mortgage. So figure out if you're on the right path. And if not, change direction now. Which brings us to rule number 2. And ignoring it could cost you tens of thousands of euros. I've got a good friend, Giovanni. 2 years ago, he bought a flat with his girlfriend. It seemed perfect. Nice apartment, good location, 2 bedrooms, ideal since she works from home. Then they adopted a cute little dog, and the office became also the dog's room. And just a few weeks ago, they told us they're planning for kids. Great news, don't get me wrong, but I immediately thought, where do the kids go? There's no space for them. The thing is, they bought a flat that fit their lives at the time, but not their future ones. Now they need a bigger place. And maybe you're thinking, no problem, Giovanni can just sell his old apartment and buy a bigger one with that money. Sounds simple, right? Wrong. Selling and buying isn't free. There's mortgage penalties, interest, taxes, and fees. All of that adds up and it's not neglectable. It will end up costing Giovanni tens of thousands of euros. The thing is that most people buy without thinking about what their life might look like in 5 or 10 years. That's why rule number 2 is to always see the big picture when buying your home. But how do you actually do that? Step 1, be clear on your current and future needs. Do you want kids? Pets? Where do you want to live? How many rooms will you need? Will you work from home? Answering these questions is super important to find a place that fits your life, now and in the future. Step 2, understand the full cost of owning that property. Because there's way more than just the mortgage, even if that's what most people fixate on. The mortgage is the big scary number you see everywhere, and it's easy to focus on, I can swing 1,000 euros per month, and ignore the rest. Your brain's overloaded with listings, decisions, and emotions, so it naturally looks for a way to simplify it all. Banks and brokers don't help either. They tell you about the rate and monthly cost, but skip taxes, insurance, maintenance, agency fees, all the secondary, non-sexy stuff. That's why this mistake is so common. But avoiding it, it's pretty easy. I built a free calculator to help you figure out all the real costs of owning a home in just a couple minutes, so that you can buy your house without struggling to pay for it. You can find the link in the description. So, by following these 2 steps, you will avoid making the same mistake my friend Giovanni made, and you will save tens or even hundreds of thousands of euros. Now, let's talk about what might be the most important decision of your financial life. I've been in a relationship since I was 24, and it has changed everything about how I manage my money. It has affected where I live, how I budget, how much I earn, my future plans, and even how I feel about discussing money at all. My girlfriend and I come from completely different backgrounds. So, in the beginning, it wasn't easy. There was tension. We'd argue about how to split expenses. She wanted to buy an apartment, I didn't. Sometimes we would avoid the topic completely, and that only made things worse. But over time, we learned to talk about money openly. It wasn't easy, but we'll get to that in a second. What matters is that now we share the same vision and we have the same values. And that not only helped our relationship, it also helped us grow our net worth way faster. That's why rule number 3 is to openly talk about money with your partner and plan your financial future together. The most important part is aligning your values. It's not about how often you eat out. It's about what money means to you both and where you want it to take you. But how do you start talking openly about money? For us, it started with one honest conversation. Yes, it felt awkward at first, but the more we talked, the easier it became. Create a safe space where both of you can be honest about goals, habits, fears. What do you want to do with your money now? Where do you want to be in 10 years? Find common ground to understand each other. Find a vision you can share together. This open communication doesn't just strengthen your relationship, it builds better habits, and it helps you reach your financial goals together. Now, I wish someone had told me about rule number 4 sooner, because it ended up costing me tens of thousands of euros. In your 30s, your career usually takes off. You start earning more. So imagine this, you get a raise. What do? For me, I took a better apartment, started traveling more, and treated myself with a nice car. And you would probably do something similar, which is perfectly fine. You've worked for it. You deserve to enjoy it. But if you want to build real wealth, maybe even retire early, there's one thing you can't ignore. It's something that could make you hundreds of thousands, if not millions of euros. That's rule number 4. When your income grows, you should invest more as well. But hey, what if I want to use this money for myself? Do it. You definitely should. But consider this. Even just 200 extra euros a month could mean retiring years earlier. The easiest way to do so is to set a fixed percentage of your income to invest. I follow the 15% rule, meaning I invest 15% of everything I earn. And you can follow the same. This way, every time your salary goes up, your investments will automatically increase as well. Finally, rule number 5 is all about protecting yourself from one of the biggest expenses you will ever face. Did you know that from diapers to college degrees, raising a child in Europe costs over 200,000 euros on average? And that doesn't include surprises like braces, a broken laptop, or medical bills. I've seen friends become parents without realizing just how expensive it really is. And when they had problems like losing a job or a car accident, they struggle to pay their bills. In those situations, even a normal emergency fund isn't enough. Because with kids, expenses are bigger, more unpredictable, and often urgent. That's why rule number 5 is to build what I call a family buffer. So what is this family buffer? Think of it like your regular emergency fund, but adjusted for your new responsibilities. As a rule of thumb, I would double what you had before. If 3 months of living expenses used to be enough, now aim for 6. If you had 6 months saved, go for 12. It might sound like a lot, but when your child needs urgent medical care or you suddenly lose your job, that buffer is what keeps your family safe. But the thing is, if your financial foundations aren't solid, even following these 5 rules won't be enough to build real wealth and live a comfortable life. That's why so many people feel stuck, not knowing how to move forward or how to reach financial freedom and retire early. I've helped many Europeans transform their finances starting from zero. So if you want to do the same, watch this video next where I'll show you step by step what you should do to take control of your finances and build your dream life.